I didn't earn millions, I imagined them. If that sounds crazy, good, because the real secret, you're manifesting right now, whether you believe it or not. But what I share at the end, that's how I made it real. Every dollar, every breakthrough, every win. You have been taught from your first breath to pray to a God outside of yourself, to beg for blessings, to hope for a future that is better than your present. You have been conditioned to look at your world, at your bank account, at your relationships, at your circumstances, and believe them to be the cause of your feelings. You say, I am struggling, and so you feel the chilling grip of struggle. You say, I am lacking, and so you feel the gnawing emptiness of lack. But you have it all backwards. You have profoundly mistaken the shadow for the substance. Your awareness of being, the simple direct feeling of I am, is the one and only creative reality. The world you see, everything you believe to be so solid and unchangeable, is nothing more than a projection, a vast and perfectly faithful outpicturing of what you are assuming is true within yourself. The world is a mirror, and it possesses no will of its own. It cannot originate anything. It can only reflect back the face you are making. If you are scowling at your reflection, filled with anger and disappointment, the mirror cannot and will not smile back at you. It is an impartial law. You must be the first to change your expression. You must be the one to smile first, to feel the joy first, and trust that the reflection has no choice but to follow suit. You are the operant power, not your body, not your name, not your history of failures or successes. Those are just costumes you have worn, roles you have played. The real you is pure, formless awareness, and this awareness is God. When Moses asked the great mystery for its name, the answer revealed the entire secret of creation in the simplest possible statement, I am that I am. It is not a being separate from you sitting on a distant throne. It is your very self, the foundation of your existence, the feeler behind the feeling, the thinker behind the thought. It is the great I am, and whatever you attach to that I am becomes your reality. It is not a request, it is a command. When you say, and more importantly feel, I am poor, you are not merely describing a temporary state, you are creating it, you are decreeing it, you are taking the infinite formless power of your own consciousness, the very substance of the cosmos, and you are pouring it into the mold of poverty. You are commanding your own divine self to experience lack. The universe does not argue. Your deeper mind, your subconscious, does not judge. It simply accepts what you, the master, declare to be true, and it moves heaven and earth to make it so. Think of yourself as a master sculptor, standing alone in a great studio. The entire world of circumstance, your finances, your relationships, your health, is an infinite supply of formless clay. This clay itself has no opinion, it has no preference, it cannot decide on its own to be a pauper's broken bowl or a king's magnificent chalice. It is entirely passive, malleable, and obedient, awaiting your touch. Your hands, the tools that shape this clay, are your assumptions. Every time you think and feel, I am, you are pressing your intention, your belief, into this formless substance of reality. For years, perhaps for a lifetime, you have been unconsciously sculpting a life of limitation because you have been identifying with it. You have been looking at the hardened clay of your past creations, the debts, the disappointments, and saying, see, this is who I am. I am a person who struggles. This is my story. And so, with that belief firm in your mind, you take fresh clay and you unconsciously sculpt the very same figure again and again and again, all the while wondering why nothing in your life ever truly changes. The change cannot happen in the clay. It must happen in the sculptor. It must happen in you. The moment you truly grasp this, the world begins to lose its solidity, its tyrannical power over you. The threatening letters from the bank, the empty wallet, the condescending boss, they cease to be immutable causes. They are revealed for what they truly are, shadows of a former assumption. They are old news. They are the fading echo of a sound you are no longer making. Your freedom begins the second you stop giving your creative power away to the external world, the world of shadows. You must reclaim it. You must turn your back on the army of facts that your senses report and place your faith entirely in your inner creative act. The power to create wealth is not in the stock market, in a brilliant business plan, or in a long-lost inheritance. Those things are channels, but they are not the source. The source is in your awareness. Therefore, the statement, I am a multimillionaire, is not a lie. It is not a hopeful Pollyanna affirmation. It is a declaration of occupancy. It is an act of moving in. You are consciously choosing to move your awareness out of the cramped, cold house of lack and into the spacious, warm, secure mansion of wealth. You do this here and now, in your imagination. The old man of lack must be starved of your attention. The new man of wealth must be fed, and you feed him not with money, but with your attention, your feeling, your unshakable assumption. The world will test you. Of course it will. The great mirror will continue to reflect your old face for a short time after you have changed your inner expression. This is the divine lag, the interval of time necessary for the seed you've planted to germinate in the soil of the subconscious. During this period, you will be tempted, fiercely tempted, to look at your bank account and say, "See, it's not working. I am still broke." And in that moment of returning to the old feeling, you have just dug up your new seed and replanted the old weed of lack. You have abandoned the sculptor's studio and have once again bowed down to your past creation. This is the great test of faith. Not faith in an external deity you must appease, but faith in the immutable law of your own being. Can you maintain the feeling of wealth even when your five senses scream denial? Can you walk through the valley of the shadow of lack, knowing with absolute conviction that it is only a shadow and that your true home, your assumed state of abundance, is the only reality? This is the work. This is the entire art of living, to choose your state and to live from it in your imagination, regardless of all appearances to the contrary. Your name is I Am, and you must now decide once and for all what you are. Feeling first. Words are hollow shells, empty vessels without the lifeblood of feeling. You can repeat the phrase, I am wealthy, 1,000 times a day, but if you feel poor while you say it, you are only reinforcing the feeling of poverty with a thin, desperate veneer of hope. You are screaming your lack to the universe. The subconscious mind, the creative faculty within you, is not moved by words. It is moved by feeling. Feeling is the secret. It is the universal language that your deeper mind understands without any need for translation or logic. To your subconscious, feeling is fact. What you feel to be true, it accepts as true and begins the inexorable process of objectifying it in your world. This is not about positive thinking. Positive thinking is often a mental battle, an attempt to paste happy thoughts over a foundation of fear. This is about deep sensory conviction. It is the profound difference between thinking of a warm, roaring fire and actually feeling its radiant heat on your skin. One is a distant, sterile concept. The other is a present, undeniable reality. To become a multimillionaire, you must stop thinking of wealth and begin to generate within yourself the actual physical and emotional sensations of already being that person. You must feel the fire's warmth now. Close your eyes for a moment. Forget the words. Forget the numbers. What does the state of being wealthy actually feel like? I am not asking what you would buy. That is a distraction that keeps your desire in the future. I am asking about the internal state. What is the precise feeling tone, the emotional signature of complete and total financial security? Is it a sense of profound relief that settles deep in your chest and shoulders? A loosening of a knot you've carried for years without even realizing it? Is it a quiet, humming confidence that resonates beneath your skin, the absolute knowledge that you can handle any situation that arises with grace and ease? Is it a feeling of expansive freedom, the complete absence of the word no in your mental vocabulary when it comes to possibilities for yourself and for those you love? You must capture this specific, nuanced feeling. It is your unique emotional signature for wealth. For one person, it might be the quiet, tearful joy of looking at your family, knowing they are safe and provided for beyond measure. For another, it might be the thrilling, calm power of knowing you can fund a dream, start a foundation, or help a friend out of a desperate situation without a second thought. Find that feeling, isolate it, hold it. It is the golden key you will use to unlock the vault. This is where so many people fail. They try to force a feeling of wild excitement or giddy joy that feels unnatural and exhausting. The feeling you are truly seeking is the feeling of naturalness. How would it feel if you had already been a multimillionaire for the past 10 years? The novelty would have long since worn off. The giddiness would have been replaced by a calm, steady, and unshakable state of being. You wouldn't be constantly thinking to yourself, wow, I'm so rich. This is amazing. You would simply be living. You would be thinking from the state of wealth, not of it. So what would that feel like? It would feel normal. It would feel natural. The goal is to take this extraordinary state of being a multimillionaire and make it so familiar, so commonplace in your imagination that it becomes your default state of being, your new normal. You must make the undreamed of dream feel like an old, comfortable pair of shoes. The feeling you are aiming for is the feeling of course. Of course I am wealthy. How could it be otherwise? It feels as if it has always been this way. This is the feeling that impresses the subconscious, the feeling of a settled, established fact. Your body is a powerful, resonant instrument, a finely tuned antenna that does not lie. When you are anxious about a bill, where do you feel it? In the pit of your stomach? In the tightness of your throat? When you are filled with doubt, is it a coldness that creeps into your hands? Your body is constantly expressing your inner state to you. You must now learn to use this incredible instrument intentionally. When you are cultivating the feeling of wealth, let it permeate your physical being. Feel the tension consciously leave your jaw. Feel your posture straighten, not with arrogance, but with the quiet, unforced dignity of one who is profoundly secure. Breathe as if you have no worries in the world, deeply, calmly from your diaphragm. Let the feeling of relief be a tangible physical sensation, like a warm blanket wrapping around you. Let the feeling of freedom be a warmth that spreads from your core through your limbs. You are not just imagining a picture on a screen in your mind. You are fully inhabiting a physiological state. You are impressing your body, and through your body, your subconscious mind, with the irrefutable sensory evidence that your desire is already a present tense fact. Do not be discouraged if this feels difficult or strange at first. You are breaking a lifelong, deeply ingrained habit of feeling lack and limitation. You are quite literally rewiring your nervous system. Be patient and wonderfully persistent with yourself. Dedicate specific times to this practice. Just as you would dedicate time to physical exercise to build a muscle, you must dedicate time to this emotional exercise to build your new state. Sit in a quiet room, close your eyes, and ask yourself, what would the feeling be like if it were true? And then when you find a flicker of it, remain in that feeling. Bathe in it. Let it wash over you. Do not force it. Gently guide your attention back to it whenever your mind wanders to thoughts of how or when. The how is not your business. Your only responsibility is to generate the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feeling is the alpha and the omega of creation. It is the divine language that speaks worlds into existence. Master this language of feeling, and you will have mastered your life. Dreaming awake. Now we come to the great workshop, the sacred psychological studio where you will consciously sculpt your new reality. This is the practical application of the law, a specific technique to be practiced daily until your new state of being is permanently installed and feels completely natural. This act of creation is best performed in a state akin to sleep, that drowsy, hypnotic, reverent state you enter just before you drift off at night or as you are slowly emerging from slumber in the morning. In this state, your conscious mind, the guard at the gate of your subconscious, is relaxed and passive. The loud, demanding world of the five senses is muted. You are beautifully suggestible, open, and receptive. The door to the subconscious, the fertile soil of creation, is wide open. This is the moment you plant the seed of your desire. You do not shout at the soil or try to violently force the seed into the ground. That is the way of effort and struggle, and it is counterproductive. Instead, you gently, lovingly place the seed in the receptive darkness of your deeper mind and trust, with absolute faith, that the law of growth will do its work. Here's the art of it. You must construct a single, short, simple scene in your imagination. This scene must be an event which would take place after your wish has been completely fulfilled. This is a crucial distinction. You do not imagine the moment of receiving the money. You do not imagine winning the lottery or signing the life-changing contract. Why? Because those actions imply you do not yet have it. They are scenes of transition, of getting. You must imagine a scene that implies the wealth is already yours, that it is a settled, established, and normal fact of your life. For instance, you could imagine a dear friend or your spouse shaking your hand and saying with genuine warmth, "Isn't it wonderful? In your mind, you know exactly what they are referring to. You feel the thrill of their shared joy, but it's a calm joy, a confirmation of a reality you have both long since accepted. Alternatively, you could imagine yourself lying in your bed, looking at the familiar ceiling, and feeling an overwhelming wave of peace and profound security wash over you, knowing that all of your financial desires are completely and utterly satisfied. The scene must be short, rich with sensory detail, and centered on your own action or feeling. You are not a spectator watching a movie. You are the star. The scene should imply the fulfillment of the desire, not the process of getting it. Once you have your scene, you enter the state akin to sleep. Get comfortable in your bed or a chair. Let your body relax completely from your toes to the top of your head. Breathe deeply and evenly. Let the day's thoughts and worries fade away like clouds drifting past the sun. When you feel that pleasant drowsiness, that lazy, floating inability to control your thoughts, that is the sign. Now, bring your short, imaginal scene to mind. Do not just watch it as if on a screen. You must be in the scene. You are the actor, feeling everything. Feel the texture of your comfortable bed sheets. Hear the exact tone and inflection of your friend's voice. Feel the physical sensation of their hand grasping yours. See the room around you through your own eyes. Make it as vivid, as real, as solid as you possibly can. And then you loop it over and over and over again, like a gentle, loving lullaby that sings you to sleep. You condense the action into a single, repeatable motion and feeling, the handshake, the words, the feeling of peace, again and again and again. You do this until the scene takes on the tones of reality, until it feels so real, so solid, that you are almost surprised when you open your eyes and find yourself back in your old familiar room. This is the feeling you are after. The purpose of this gentle repetition is to lull the conscious, analytical mind to sleep while keeping the subconscious awake and receptive. You are saturating your deeper mind with one single, dominant impression. It is done. As you loop the scene, it will begin to feel more and more solid, more natural. The feeling associated with it, the relief, the joy, the security, will intensify and permeate your being. You must persist in this imaginal act until you feel the inner shift, the mental click, the deep sigh of satisfaction that Neville Goddard called the Sabbath. It is the distinct feeling of, it is finished. You have successfully impregnated your subconscious mind. You have planted the seed. At this point, you can gratefully drift off to sleep in the quiet confidence that your prayer has been heard and accepted. You have done the work. Now, the law of gestation takes over. This is not a mental strain. It should never feel like a struggle. If you find yourself forcing it or straining, you are using too much effort, which means your conscious mind is too involved in resisting the process. The key is to be passive yet intentional. It is a controlled daydream, a waking dream that you are directing. You are gently guiding the flow of your imagination in that drowsy, fluid, creative state. If you fall asleep in the middle of looping your scene, that is perfect, for you have carried your assumption with you into the deep, where it will work its magic without any interference from your doubting mind. Do this every single night without fail. Make it the sacred final act you perform before entering sleep. Do not revisit the old problems of the day. Do not worry about tomorrow. Your only task is to enter Jerusalem, the city of peace, your wish fulfilled. This nightly ritual is the sacred act of creation. It is you, as God, commanding your reality to conform to your will, and it must obey. Walking as. Your nightly work in the state akin to sleep is the divine conception. Your daily life, your waking hours, is the gestation period. A seed planted in fertile ground cannot possibly grow if you spend your days pouring acid on the soil. In the same way, you cannot successfully impress your subconscious with the feeling of wealth at night only to spend your 16 waking hours steeped in the corrosive feelings of lack, fear, and doubt. This is the most common point of failure, the reef upon which most ships crash. You must maintain your assumption throughout the day. You must, to the very best of your ability, begin to think from your desired state, not of it. This is what is meant by living in the end. It is a mental diet. You must become a vigilant guardian of the thoughts and feelings you allow to occupy the precious real estate of your mind. How would a multimillionaire think, feel, and react to the events of their day? This is the question you must constantly, gently ask yourself. If you receive an unexpected bill in the mail, the old you, the man of lack, might panic. Your stomach would clench, your mind would race. The new you, the wealthy you who is living from the end, would see it as a minor annoyance, a simple task to be handled, not a catastrophe. You would internally assume the funds are there or on their way, even if your senses currently deny it. You would maintain the inner feeling of security. You are not pretending. You are not being delusional. You are being faithful to your unseen reality. You are refusing to give power to the shadows on the wall. When a friend complains about the terrible economy or the high cost of living, you do not join them in the pit of despair. You can listen with compassion and love, but internally you remain unshaken in your state of abundance. You understand that their reality is a perfect reflection of their consciousness, just as yours is a perfect reflection of yours. You bless them and see them as they desire to be, but you do not take on their state of lack. To do so would be to betray your own new creation. This mental diet requires a gentle, non-judgmental vigilance. You must learn to catch yourself every time you begin to slip back into the old state of being. When a thought of doubt or fear arises, what if this doesn't work? You must recognize it for what it is, a temptation to return to Egypt, to the familiar land of bondage. You do not fight the thought. You do not argue with it. To fight it is to give it energy and reality. You simply revise it. You turn your attention away from the doubt and back to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You might say to yourself, that was the old man thinking. The new me knows that I am abundant and secure. You do it gently but firmly, again and again. Every moment of your day is an opportunity to either reinforce your old state of lack or to strengthen your new state of wealth. Choose wealth every single time. It is a moment-by-moment practice in mental discipline and creative power. This does not mean you should act recklessly in the outer world. You do not go out and spend money you do not physically possess. That is not faith, that is foolishness, and it almost always comes from a place of deep anxiety, a need to prove to yourself or others that the law is working. True faith is quiet and internal. Living in the end is an internal act. The external world will conform in its own good time, in a way that feels natural. Your job is to change your inner conversations, your deep-seated assumptions, and your emotional reactions. You walk with a different posture. You speak with a different confidence, not the loud arrogance of the ego, but the quiet certainty of one who knows a great secret. You see the world not as a hostile battlefield, but as a garden that is dutifully growing the seeds you have planted. Think of it this way. If you booked a non-refundable first-class ticket to Paris for a dream vacation next month, you would not spend every day worrying if the plane was going to make it. You would not call the airline daily to confirm your seat. You would relax. You would plan your itinerary. You would enjoy the anticipation. You would assume your arrival. You would be thinking from the certainty of your destination. You have, through your nightly imaginal act, booked your first-class ticket to the state of being a multi-millionaire. Now you must enjoy the journey. You must live in the assumption of your arrival. When you truly live from the end, the feeling of anxiety disappears. The feeling of desperate wanting vanishes. Why would you want for something you already have? It is replaced by a quiet, joyful expectancy. You know that its physical manifestation is on its way, and you can relax and allow it to come in its own perfect time. Unseen bridge. Once you have successfully impressed the subconscious mind with your new state of being, you must then do the hardest and most courageous thing of all. Nothing. You must let it go. You must trust the process completely. You have planted the precious seed in the dark, fertile ground of your deeper mind. You do not dig it up every day to check if it is sprouting. To do so would be to expose it to the harsh light of doubt and kill it. You have performed the imaginal act, the one true creative act. Now you must have total faith in the law of assumption. Your subconscious mind, having accepted your new state as an established reality, will now begin to brilliantly orchestrate the events necessary to bring it forth into your physical world. This is the bridge of incidents. This bridge is the series of seemingly natural, logical, and sometimes surprising events that will appear in your life to lead you from your current state to the physical fulfillment of your desire. You will not likely wake up tomorrow with millions of dollars magically deposited in your bank account, though even that is possible. The universe, which is your own deeper self, typically moves in more elegant and natural ways. A person you haven't spoken to in a decade might call you out of the blue with a business idea that is perfectly suited to your talents. An opportunity for a promotion you never thought possible might suddenly open up at work. You may feel a sudden, inexplicable urge to invest in a particular stock that then performs miraculously. You might be walking down the street and overhear a conversation that gives you the exact solution to a problem that has been plaguing you, a solution that unlocks immense value. These events will feel so natural, so coincidental, that in retrospect, you might be tempted to dismiss them and say, "Oh, it would have happened anyway." But do not be fooled. This is the hand of your own consciousness at work. This is the unseen bridge you commanded into existence with your feeling. Your only job during this phase is to maintain your assumption of wealth and to walk across the bridge as its planks appear before your feet. You must act on the reasonable opportunities that present themselves. If that old friend calls with a plausible idea, you take the meeting with the inner confidence of a wealthy person. If the promotion opens up, you apply for it with the self-assurance of one who is already successful. You must have the courage to walk through the doors that your own subconscious mind opens for you. The law moves you to do certain things and moves other people to do things that will aid you. It is a divine, invisible dance. But you will not be compelled to do anything that feels truly unnatural or against your moral code. Remember, you have assumed the state of being a wealthy, secure person. Therefore, the actions you will be inspired to take will be the natural actions of a person on that path. It will feel right. It will feel like the next logical step. The path will unfold before you, not all at once, but one step at a time. Do not concern yourself with the how, the when, or the who. This is the great surrender. The conscious, rational mind is a brilliant tool for analysis, but it is a terrible master of creation. It can only see the pathways based on your past experiences and your limited view of the world, but your subconscious mind has access to pathways you cannot even conceive of. It can rearrange the entire world to match your assumption. To try and figure out the how is to severely limit the possibilities. It is to tell the master architect how he should build the house. Your job is simply to live in the feeling of the house being finished. The architect will handle the blueprints and the construction. Your faith is your total acceptance of the end, in utter disregard for any and all possible obstacles. You must trust that the bridge will be there, even if you can only see the mist in front of you. When you live this way, life ceases to be a struggle and becomes a magnificent adventure. You watch with a sense of wonder and awe as the world rearranges itself around your new state of being. Coincidences become commonplace. Serendipity becomes your constant companion. You begin to see the evidence of your inner work everywhere, in small and large ways. It is a deeply personal, profound, and faith-building experience. You realize once and for all that you are not a victim of circumstance, but the creator of it. You are not a cork tossed on the stormy sea of life. You are the captain of your own ship, steering it with the silent rudder of your imagination. So after you have felt it real in your nightly practice and maintained that feeling during your day, you drop it. You go about your business with the quiet, unshakable confidence of a pregnant mother. She does not doubt that a child is coming. She simply goes about her life, nourishing herself and the life within her, knowing that in the fullness of time the birth will happen. It is inevitable. Your wish is your child. Let it grow in the darkness of the womb of your subconscious mind. It will be born. It is law.